That's one moment where I was like, maybe I don't love dogs. And then I saw, I don't know, I saw My Dog. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I do love dogs.
All right.
So
So
what do you find in here?
I can't find a official announcement. I don't know.
I'm sure they sent out like some press release thing, kind of detailing what they were gonna do. But I'm sure everyone, all 20 people who listen to us know, because this is a movie podcast, and if you're listening to this, you are probably as deep into movies as we are.
I don't think that's true.
Warner Brothers and HBO Max made the announcement that every Warner Brothers movie released this year will be released simultaneously on HBO Max. Now, what I didn't
For 31 days.
for 31, and I didn't actually know that until probably 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So well after the announcement was made, I heard that it's only going to be on HBO Max for a month. Now, initially my thoughts were this is potentially a kind of a dangerous thing. My thoughts kind of mirrored Christopher Nolan's thoughts in a lot of ways. And he kind of talked about how it's almost like it's a disservice to some of these creators like himself, like Denis Villeneuve, who made Dune, who make these larger than life movies only for people to have the option to see them on a TV screen in their homes. Now,
for free if you already have the subscription.
Yeah, right. If you're subscribed, you're paying a similar price
Which,
to like Netflix.
At that point, who knows how much monetary return that they're gonna get from these movies.
And I mean, I think if you are subscribed to HBO Max, you're automatically getting your monthly payment back by the amount of movies that HBO or that Warner Brothers is going to have on the platform.
Easily.
And I think in a lot of ways Nolan's right. I mean, you're kind of playing with fire here, giving studios this huge option to just automatically place whatever movie they want on a streaming platform, knowing that millions of people are probably going to see it that way, as opposed to going to a theater. You're also putting theaters in a tough spot.
Yes,
in a lot of ways. But whenever we first talked about this, you brought up a point. I can't remember exactly how you said it, or maybe it was someone else. But this could also give theaters an option to give less money back to the studio, right? Because the studio is taking a cut from HBO now. So if Warner Brothers is taking a cut from HBO, theaters might not have to be giving so much of the revenue that they bring in.
Leo, come here, dude.
Leo, is that right?
He's blocking the entire camera.
Hey,
no, come here.
Son of a bitch.
Lay down. There you go. I'll bet you.
So theaters might actually be making more money because of this, but that's an unknown. And a lot of what's happening with this deal and with what's going to happen over the next year with this deal is an unknown.
I mean, so I think that this decision has a lot of potential within the industry to burn some bridges for Warner Bros. Oh, yeah. Who knows if the directors and even the actors, the producers that are behind these films are going to want to put their time and effort into something that is not going to be appreciated the way that they expect it to be.
Right.
Which most people making these movies, unless you are like under contract with Netflix or something like that,
right,
you are expecting your films to be watched in theaters.
Right.
Or you're expecting somebody to have to pay $30 to buy it and watch it at home.
Right. And even with Netflix movies that are distributed by Netflix, that are funded by Netflix, that are made to be put on their platform, even those movies get limited releases because like Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, that had a limited release because he still wanted critics, people who were going to kind of prop up the movie if they liked it, people who a lot of other people listen to, read, stuff like that. They want to make sure those people still get that theater experience because There really is. There's no experience like going and seeing a movie on a giant screen with this full surround sound experience. A lot of movies almost require that to really get the full experience. I would never have thought about Tenet the way I do without having seen it in IMAX.
Right.
That was such a life-altering experience to have seen it that way. I've watched it at home since then, and it's still a great movie, and I still love watching it. But you do lose a little bit of that kind of theater magic, not getting to see it on a giant screen with sounds coming at you from all angles. It's something that I think a deal like this kind of takes away for some people.
Yeah, I think it takes it away to a degree. In the current state of the universe,
Yeah.
who knows what kind of box office success these movies would see anyway.
Right.
People just aren't really going to movies right now.
That's
Even
true.
if a movie sells out a theater, it's essentially selling out half a theater.
Not even 25% in some places.
or less.
Yeah.
So, I understand it from a standpoint of people still want to see the movies.
Right.
And now, for better or for worse, streaming is king.
Right. And Warner Brothers wants to make sure as many people can see the movie as possible.
Right. And they have said, which I think we need to hope and pray they stick to it. They've said that this is basically like pandemic rules only.
Right.
Once theaters are able to open with capacity, the idea is that beyond 2021, this will not be a thing.
Right.
But I think that at the very least, and this is given the sacrifice that is coming with this decision, at least the door is still open to release these in theaters.
Right.
Because I think going straight to streaming, or even if they decided to only release like VOD, I think it could be with a company as big as Warner Brothers, it could be catastrophic to theaters.
Right.
So the fact that the option is still there is great, but they have to realize the power of convenience, and there are very few people who will choose to go out to a movie theater when they can watch it on a streaming service that they already pay for.
Right.
Now, even with that being said, I don't necessarily understand all the pushback that it's getting from directors and actors. First of all, a lot of them are not making movies right now.
Right.
The movies that are gonna come out next year, have already been delayed. They have already been affected by the pandemic and by the lack of theaters being open anyway, the difficulty with production. So this is a way to still get a product out to the people.
That's true.
They're mostly, I think it's hard to discern whether they are worried about how their art is consumed versus and the experience that comes along with, like you said, watching a movie in theaters. Or are they mostly concerned with the money?
The bottom line.
And because being what it is, the movie industry, most actors, most directors, they produce movies kind of in waves. They're not making content every single year.
Right.
A lot of them don't have the time or the energy to make a big box office film every single year.
Right.
So in all reality, this is going to affect the minority of directors.
Right.
The minority of movies, period.
Well, and it's in all likelihood only going to affect one of their movies.
Right.
Which, you don't, of course you don't want that to happen at all, but if you're trying to, take it in stride, look at the positives, that is hopefully one positive is that this should only affect this year.
Yes.
And here's another positive. The people that are going to be in theaters are going to be guys like you and me who are paying strict attention, not checking their phones, not doing, Snapchatting people, getting on Twitter, stuff like
and who will get the word out.
Right. People who actually want to be in a theater.
Yes.
Going to see a movie. Now, I think the whole point of releasing movies in theaters is trying to get people who normally wouldn't go to go. Mm-hmm. That's why you drop trailers. That's why you have all this marketing so you can get people out to see it.
Yes.
So that's obviously you're going to lose some of that, but at the same time, it is going to be nice to be in a theater where people aren't talking to the person next to them or always, I like taking pictures of the screen, doing dumb shit all the time. Like when we watch movies together, outside of like looking at each other and going like, "Oh, holy shit!" Like, did you see that?
Yeah.
Like, I went and saw Toy Story 4. I guess, God, that would have been in 2019. With a buddy of mine, and there was a couple next to us. I shit you not. The movie was about an hour 40 minutes long. They talked the entire time, like just had a normal conversation, like they were sitting here like you and me, and just like, so did you hear what like Becky said about Rebecca the other day? Like, what a fucking bitch. And I was like,
you're like,
dude,
what's the point?
Why are you here? Why are you watching? Like, do this at a restaurant where talking is socially acceptable. Talking is not social. Talking is during a movie is the social equivalent of shitting in the street. Ron White said that, and I stand by it, and I always will. It is the most bullshit thing you can do. And I get it. If something happens, you want to like mention it or say something. Like, talking during a movie is fine.
Yeah.
In context though, and to a fault. If you're having a conversation at a normal speaking volume,
you're doing something
to
wrong.
The point where everyone around you is like, what the fuck? Like, people were shushing them multiple times. When the movie ended, my buddy Taryn looked at me and he was like, fuck those guys, out loud, hoping that he would hear us. They would hear us. Like, it's going to be nice to have a theater experience for this year, especially with Warner Brothers movies, where at least there's a good chance that it's just going to be dedicated people who actually want to be there.
Well,
like that's a positive to this, to me.
I think that kind of my final take on the whole thing is it seems like, at least for now, and hopefully they handle this well going forward, and hopefully this is not a permanent thing.
Right.
It seems like right now it's kind of the lesser of two evils. It's not really an option at the moment to only release in theaters. Right. There's not a market for it. You almost got it. There's not a market for it with today's climate,
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
So it feels like this is better than nothing.
Right.
It's better than continuing to push off movies that should have come out last fall. I guess we'll see what kind of success they have with Dune.
Also with
Matrix,
with HBO Max subscription counts, because that's going to be what is a big determining factor of whether or not this worked, is how many people are actually subscribed to HBO Max.
Well, and how much money Warner Brothers studios are going to make.
What percentage of a cut is Warner Brothers getting? And this is data that doesn't have to be publicly released. It's information that you kind of have to look for. I'm pretty sure it's all public record, but it's not something where they're actively going to be like, our subscriber count increased 10 million after Dune dropped. Like, they're not going to.
Yeah, but I also think that if it's not successful, it could be pretty detrimental to Warner Bros. Moving forward. They have the money and they have the name,
right?
But if it gets to a point where movie makers don't have any sort of reason to work through Warner Bros. or work with them,
right?
If it gets to a point with with directors who have these big contracts with Warner Bros. Where they have no reason to make good films for them,
Right.
because they're not making money, because people are not seeing their work.
Yeah.
It could kind of get messy for Warner Bros. Going forward,
For sure.
especially if the content that they're pushing out is not good, or if it's rushed,
Or if it's not getting watched.
But
But that could be taken as a sign, though, that people still do want to see movies in theaters. Like, people want to see The Matrix in theaters.
yes,
People want to see a movie
but that's
like
why
Dune
that's
in
why
theaters.
it needs to be
Right.
short term, because that can only
Yes.
last so long.
Right, right.
And if you miss on these movies, these specific films will not get a second chance. If
No.
these fail on HBO Max, you're losing the entire audience that would have seen those in theaters, and
Right.
you're not going to get another shot at it.
Well, also, I think what another thing that kind of happens with, like, these movies are going to be so driven by critic responses too.
Yeah.
Like, most movies, distributors could not give a single shit about reviews. If it makes them money and the audience likes it,
Yep.
critic reviews don't matter. But in this situation, critic reviews might actually be a little more of a driving point, because that's going to be a key to saying, see, we're still making good movies. But we had to do it this way. There was no other option.
Yeah.
We had to get our bottom line. We had to do it this way. But in 2022, here's what else is coming, right? You saw critics love these movies. Audiences like these movies. Even though it might not have been as many people or as much money as we wanted to make, we were still putting out good content that was well reviewed. So here's what you got to look forward to next year in theaters, right?
Yes.
I think that's going to be a big
They're
driving
They're
factor
definitely
behind
going to have
what
to
happens.
use it to their advantage.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's a huge possibility that a lot of these movies are kind of forgotten because of just the fact that they're kind of caught up in this whole thing.
I mean, I really don't think Dune and The Matrix are going to be forgotten. I think some of the smaller movies very well could be. Bond isn't a Warner Brothers.
Space Jams.
I'm not really. Listen, I hate Space Jam, the OG. It's one of the dumbest movies ever made. Who am I kidding? I love watching that movie. It's not a good movie, but I love watching it. Don't look at me like that. Oh, did I hurt someone's feelings?
I think we
We do need to wrap this up. We said we were going to aim for a shorter video, and we're at 21 minutes.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
I can't believe that pissed you off so
Well-
much. You really like Space Jam that much? Dude. What is so good about Space Jam, Dom?
Dude, okay. It didn't.
Tell me what's so good about it.
It's not what you said, it's how you said it.
What do you mean?
The way that you implied that Space Jam was a horrible movie.
Okay,
The way that you implied that there were no redeeming qualities about Space Jam.
what, Lola Bunny? Lola Bunny's a redeeming quality.
Okay, I've had enough.
I'm going to get canceled for that one.
I'm
kidding.
I have had quite enough of this.
When I was a kid, though, I am interested to see how LeBron
Leo.
is as an actor.
I bet not good.
Probably not. Probably as good as Michael Jordan was, which was not that great.
But he makes cool shoes.
Okay, here's what I'll say about I do love watching Space Jam, like, with my little cousins and, like, showing them some, because it is an iconic movie for, like, the time it came in
and Bugs Bunny.
And the fact that the Looney Tunes were in a movie with Michael Jordan. It was an interesting concept. It was just basically like an hour and a half long
It's kind of fun.
commercial.
Kind of fun.
It was kind of fun. I do think, like, obviously the special effects are going to be very I mean, they're gonna be they're gonna be better than they were in when did Space Jam come out? 1995.
Really? You think they'll be better?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They're gonna go all out.
Wow.
It's Warner Brothers, man.
Wow. You think?
You know how much money they put into this movie?
Wait, you think the special effects in 2021 are going to be better than?
You thought Lola Bunny looked good in 1995. Imagine how she's gonna look in 2021, bro. We gotta stop this.
Yeah,
we gotta be done.
Hey,
all right.
Let's take them out.
You got it this
Okay.
time. Oh my god.
Thanks for listening, wherever you're listening.
I think Leo's just cutting me off completely. I think
yeah,
you can
you're
see
not-
the top of my head.
It's like him wearing a hat right now.
Leo, lay down.
No, he
Or
didn't
move.
do it.
That's.
Okay. Can I?
Hi.
Will you let me finish,
back.
please?
Will you just do it? God,
Just hurry up.
waiting on you, bro. Oh.
Thanks for listening. If you're listening, thanks for watching.
If you're still here.
Thanks for watching. If you're watching,
If you're watching.
check us out on YouTube. Front row seats on YouTube.
Front row seats on YouTube. Front row seats on Spotify. Apple Podcasts.
Front row podcast.
Yeah, but like the name of the
Yeah.
Front Row Podcast.
Listen,
Front Row
we're
Seats.
all the same.
Listen.
New Year, same.
We're all
us.
under one label. New Year, same me. Who am I kidding?
Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud if it's your thing. Of course, YouTube. We've got a Facebook page. Hopefully, Instagram coming soon. I'll have a little more time recently, upcomingly. Anyway, I'm gonna make an Instagram page eventually.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So watch out for that. Hopefully, we can do a little more with our social media. But
yeah.
like, share, comment, subscribe.
We're working on it. We're working on pushing it. You know, it's hard to balance, work life with doing this. And
Sometimes we don't record for 3 weeks.
yeah.
Sometimes
Well, listen.
sometimes we record 5 times in a week.
Listen,
there's
it
really
was-
no.
it was Christmas time
There's no
and New Year's.
schedule.
You were traveling. I had family here. There was
Right.
literally zero.
I didn't travel at all during that time.
There was no
But
window to
thank
get
you.
stuff done.
I was just working.
You were also you also worked Christmas and New Year's because
So
you're crazy.
Anyway,
Thank you again, and we'll see you in the next one.
we will.
Yeah. That might actually come. I don't know.
I don't know.
We
I don't
haven't.
know when.
we haven't
We gotta
scheduled
stop
this yet.
doing that.
Yeah.
We've done that like 5 times.
I'm
and
just gonna. I'm gonna
I don't think
bleep.
it's
I'm gonna.
ever-
I'm gonna bleep that whenever I cut this together, so people be
coming
like,
up next.
"What's he talking about?
He's about to drink your coffee.
You gonna drink that? It's just water."
You gonna drink that?
All right. Well, that's done. All right.
Give me your thoughts.
All right. I'm gonna take the headphones off.